Imagine waking up tomorrow in the exact same place you are today. The bills haven't magically disappeared, the opportunities haven't knocked on your door, and the world hasn't suddenly decided to give you what you deserve. Most people wake up like this and accept it. Most people continue to wait for luck, for chance, for someone else to hand them success on a silver platter. But you are not most people. You are listening to this because you are ready to do what most won't. You are ready to take the harsh, unfiltered truth about life and use it as fuel. This is not a feel-good story. This is not a motivational speech designed to make you momentarily inspired before you forget it by lunchtime. This is the most ruthless self-improvement audiobook you will ever hear. This is built from nothing. Introduction: the brutal truth about life. Life is not fair. It never was, and it never will be. No one is coming to save you, and no one owes you a second chance. Every day, millions of people are born into circumstances they did not choose, and every day, millions die without ever realizing what they could have become. The difference between those who achieve and those who remain stagnant is simple. One group decides to act, while the other clings to excuses. Built from nothing does not mean starting with a clean slate. It means starting with less than nothing. It means having walls against you, voices telling you that you cannot, and circumstances designed to keep you small. It is not glamorous, it is not easy, but it is the only way to forge strength, resilience, and unbreakable character. This audiobook will take you through the relentless, unfiltered truth about how to build your life from the ground up. No excuses, no shortcuts, and no sugarcoating. Chapter 1. Embrace the void. Before anything can be built, you must first understand what nothing truly is. Many people hear the word nothing and immediately associate it with emptiness, with loss, with despair. They see a void as a negative space to be feared, avoided, or filled quickly with distractions. But nothing is not emptiness. Nothing is not a curse. Nothing is freedom. Nothing is the raw canvas upon which the rest of your life, your achievements, and your character can be painted. To embrace the void is to embrace the potential that exists when you are unshackled from illusions, when you let go of dependence, and when you see that the life you want to build is waiting on the other side of fear. Most people are terrified of the void because it forces them to confront reality. It forces them to confront the fact that they have no guarantees, no safety nets, and no one coming to rescue them. The void exposes weakness, laziness, and excuses. It is uncomfortable, and the world has trained us to avoid discomfort at all costs. We are told to seek security, to seek comfort, to seek approval from others, and in doing so, we slowly bury our potential. The people who succeed, the ones who truly rise, are not those who never face the void. They are those who learn to sit with it, to stare at it, and to turn it into opportunity. Every challenge you encounter, every setback, every moment of scarcity is not an obstacle. It is raw material for greatness. Scarcity teaches creativity. Struggle teaches resilience. Solitude teaches self-reliance. Pain teaches strength. These are not just cliches. They are truths that have shaped the lives of everyone who has risen from nothing to something extraordinary. The void, when embraced, becomes a forge where weakness is melted away and strength is cast into existence. To start from nothing, you must first sit with your reality. Many people avoid this step because it is painful. They distract themselves with social media, entertainment, or the opinions of others. They fill their time and their minds with noise to avoid the uncomfortable questions. Where am I really? What have I truly done for myself? Am I living the life I want, or the life someone else told me to want? Avoiding these questions is easy, but it keeps you trapped. Facing them is hard, but it sets you free. The void is not a threat, it is a mirror. It shows you exactly where you are, what you have, what you lack, and what is possible if you decide to act. When you embrace the void, you stop pretending that your circumstances are acceptable. Many people make excuses for themselves because they cannot tolerate the emptiness. They say, "I can't because I don't have the resources," or "I don't have connections," or "I wasn't born into the right situation." These statements are not reality, they are comfort disguised as truth. Reality does not care about excuses. Opportunity does not wait for the convenient moment. The void does not judge, it simply exists. And it is in this existence, raw and unfiltered, that you can find clarity. The moment you stop fearing emptiness is the moment you gain control over it. Embracing the void is also about recognizing the power of choice. When you have nothing, you are free from attachments, from debts, from obligations that hold you back. There is no pre-existing structure, no expectation from others, and no legacy you are forced to continue. While most people see this as weakness, the relentless see it as liberation. You are starting from scratch, and that means everything you do is a conscious creation. Every decision, every effort, every step you take from here is entirely yours. The void gives you the ability to build without limitation, without compromise, and without distraction. One of the most critical lessons of embracing nothing is learning to trust yourself. When you have nothing, there is no safety net, no one to rely on, no external crutch. Every action, every choice, every success or failure rests solely on your shoulders. This responsibility can feel overwhelming at first, but it is also the birthplace of true independence. You begin to realize that the only person who can change your life is you. The void forces this understanding, because in nothing there is no alternative. You cannot blame the world, your upbringing, or circumstances. You cannot wait for someone else to hand you success. You must act. And when you act consistently, with clarity and purpose, the void becomes your ally rather than your enemy. To embrace the void also means embracing discomfort. Human beings are wired to avoid pain and uncertainty, but the truth is, nothing great has ever been achieved in comfort. Comfort breeds complacency. Comfort breeds mediocrity. When you sit in the void, you experience mental, emotional, and sometimes physical discomfort. You face your fears, your limitations, and your doubts. And as you sit with them, as you stare them down without running or distracting yourself, you begin to develop resilience, focus, and courage. The void becomes a training ground for the mind, and the lessons you learn here are far more powerful than any textbook or motivational quote. Another aspect of embracing the void is redefining your relationship with failure. In nothing, failure is not the end, it is information. Every attempt, every mistake, every setback provides feedback. It is a guide, showing you what works, what doesn't, and what must change. When you fear nothing, you also fear failure less. You understand that nothing is a starting point, and every failure is simply a step along the path to something greater. The void gives you permission to fail, learn, adapt, and try again. Embracing the void also requires patience. Nothing happens overnight, and the initial emptiness can feel like stagnation or defeat. Many give up during this phase because they confuse inaction with failure. But the void is a silent teacher. It teaches endurance, persistence, and the power of gradual progress. Every day you spend understanding your nothing, every moment you dedicate to learning, planning, and preparing, is a brick added to the foundation of your future. The void rewards those who persist, and it punishes those who run from it. Finally, embracing the void is about perspective. Most people fear nothing because they see it as a lack, as a deficiency. The truth is the opposite. Nothing is potential. Nothing is freedom. Nothing is the raw material of power. The world will try to convince you that you need to have something before you can start. That resources, luck, or connections are prerequisites. The truth is, those who rise from nothing see opportunity where others see emptiness. They take the scarcity of their resources and transform it into creativity. They take isolation and transform it into self-reliance. They take struggle and transform it into strength. Nothing is not a curse. Nothing is the soil in which greatness is grown, but only if you are willing to plant, nurture, and fight for it. To embrace the void fully, begin today. Sit in silence and confront your life as it is. Identify what is holding you back, what you fear, and what you have been avoiding. Accept that you may have nothing, but recognize that in this nothing lies everything you need to start. Treat the void not as an enemy, but as a foundation. Build from it, learn from it, grow from it. The stronger you become in nothing, the stronger you will be in everything that comes after. The void is not empty. It is full of possibility. It is full of potential. It is waiting for those brave enough to face it, fearless enough to act within it, and relentless enough to turn it into everything they want. To embrace the void is to embrace freedom, control, and power. It is the first step in building a life from nothing, a life forged by effort, courage, and unyielding determination. If you can embrace the void today, you will never be afraid of failure, scarcity, or challenge again, because you will know that in nothing lies everything, and everything begins with you. Chapter 2. Kill your excuses. Excuses are the silent killers of potential. They are the chains that keep people trapped in mediocrity, convincing them that failure is inevitable, that opportunity is rare, and that life is somehow unfair. Every time you say, "I don't have time," "I'm too tired," or "I'll start tomorrow," you are feeding the very weakness that keeps you from rising. Excuses are seductive because they make inaction feel justified, but in reality, they are nothing more than illusions designed to protect you from discomfort. To build from nothing, you must learn to recognize, confront, and annihilate your excuses. Most people live their entire lives surrounded by excuses, never realizing that these excuses are not external problems, they are internal choices. When someone claims, "I don't have resources," they overlook the countless ways in which creativity, persistence, and ingenuity can replace them. When someone says, "I can't because I lack experience," they ignore the fact that every expert started as a beginner. When someone claims, "I'll never succeed because the world is unfair," they fail to see that fairness is irrelevant. Success is determined by action, not circumstance. Every excuse is a lie you tell yourself, and the longer you allow those lies to persist, the more they define your life. The first step in killing your excuses is brutal honesty. Stop lying to yourself. Identify every excuse you have used in the past year, in the past month, even in the past week, that has prevented you from taking action. Write them down. Examine them carefully. Most of them will appear reasonable at first glance. They will sound like valid justifications backed by logic or circumstance. But dig deeper. Ask yourself, am I telling the truth, or am I simply afraid to do the work? The truth is often uncomfortable, and that discomfort is precisely why excuses exist. They are shields that protect you from confronting your own inaction. Once you have identified your excuses, it is time to confront them. Each excuse must be challenged relentlessly, dissected, and exposed for what it truly is: a weakness dressed up as a reason. If you are tired, ask yourself why. Did you choose to spend your energy on distractions instead of priorities? If you feel unqualified, ask yourself why. Did you fail to take the steps necessary to learn, practice, or gain experience? If you claim lack of time, ask yourself why. Are you wasting hours on activities that do not move you closer to your goals? Every excuse has a root cause, and the more honest you are with yourself, the more clearly you will see that the responsibility for your circumstances rests squarely on your shoulders. Killing excuses also requires accountability. Excuses thrive in isolation. They grow stronger when no one challenges you, when no one sees your actions or inaction. Surround yourself with people who demand more from you, who will not tolerate mediocrity, and who will call you out when you rationalize failure. Accountability is not punishment, it is leverage. It forces you to act, to produce results, and to align your behavior with your ambitions. The most successful people understand that accountability is a powerful tool, and they seek it out rather than avoid it. It is also critical to understand the relationship between excuses and comfort. Excuses are born in the womb of comfort. They exist because the human mind seeks to minimize effort, reduce stress, and avoid challenge. Every excuse is an attempt to remain comfortable in a world that requires relentless effort, creativity, and courage to succeed. If you want to rise from nothing, you must become comfortable with discomfort. You must learn to act even when conditions are imperfect, when energy is low, when fear is present. The moment you decide that action matters more than comfort, excuses lose all power. Killing excuses does not mean you ignore reality. It does not mean pretending that challenges do not exist. Life is difficult, resources are limited, and obstacles are real. But excuses are not reality. They are interpretations of reality designed to justify inaction. By confronting your excuses, you separate truth from perception, possibility from illusion. You acknowledge the difficulty of the path while refusing to allow difficulty to dictate your choices. You see that limitations exist, but you also see that they can be overcome with resourcefulness, persistence, and grit. To completely annihilate excuses, you must adopt a mindset of relentless ownership. Everything in your life, every success, every failure, every opportunity is a direct result of your actions. The world owes you nothing, and your results are determined by how you respond to reality, not by how much you wish it were different. When you own everything, your circumstances, your actions, your failures, your victories, you remove the space in which excuses can live. Excuses cannot survive in a mind that accepts full responsibility, because that mind knows there is no one else to blame and nothing else to wait for. Action is the ultimate weapon against excuses. Talk is cheap. Motivation is fleeting. Only action produces results. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you shrink the power of your excuses. Every time you act despite fear, despite doubt, despite scarcity, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Momentum is built in small increments, and consistency over time crushes excuses with the weight of undeniable evidence. The more you act, the more confident you become, and the less space excuses have to grow. Another critical aspect of killing excuses is preparation. Excuses often arise from uncertainty and lack of clarity. People rationalize inaction because they feel unprepared or overwhelmed. The antidote is planning and discipline. Break your goals into manageable steps. Develop a daily routine that prioritizes action. Track your progress meticulously. Preparation does not eliminate challenges, but it reduces hesitation and provides a framework in which excuses are irrelevant. When you have a plan, excuses lose their grip, because action is no longer a matter of chance, it is a matter of habit. Finally, killing your excuses requires persistence. The mind will always seek to justify inaction. It will always look for a reason to stop, to delay, to rationalize. This is human nature. But human nature can be trained, disciplined, and reprogrammed. Every time you recognize an excuse and act despite it, you reinforce a new pattern, a pattern of resilience, responsibility, and relentless pursuit of your goals. Over time, this becomes instinctive. You will no longer automatically reach for excuses, because action, accountability, and discipline will become your default. The moment you kill your excuses, you step into a new reality. You stop waiting for permission, for opportunity, or for circumstances to improve. You stop blaming the world or circumstances for your lack of progress. You take control, you take responsibility, and you take action. Life begins to bend toward your will, not because the world has changed, but because you have. Excuses are the anchor that keeps dreams from leaving the harbor. Kill them, and your potential can set sail. Remember, the power to eliminate excuses exists entirely within you. No one can do it for you. No circumstance can excuse your failure. Every step you take, every obstacle you overcome, every commitment you keep builds a life that excuses cannot touch. The void you faced in Chapter 1 becomes a foundation, and your refusal to accept excuses becomes the hammer and chisel that shapes your reality. Those who succeed are not extraordinary because they are gifted. They are extraordinary because they refuse to make excuses, even when every reason to do so exists. To live without excuses is not easy. It requires honesty, courage, and relentless effort. It requires you to confront discomfort, scarcity, and fear repeatedly, and to act anyway. But it is the only path to true freedom, empowerment, and success. Excuses will whisper, they will beg, they will try to lull you back into inaction. Ignore them, confront them, destroy them. The life you desire, the person you are capable of becoming, exists beyond the lies you tell yourself. Kill your excuses, and nothing can stop you. Chapter 3. Master your pain. Pain is inevitable. Every human being will encounter it in some form, in some degree, at some point in life. It arrives in the shape of failure, disappointment, rejection, loss, illness, or struggle. Pain does not discriminate. It does not wait for the right moment. It does not ask for permission before it enters your life. Yet, despite its inevitability, most people approach pain with fear, avoidance, and resentment. They try to escape it, numb it, or deny it. They fail to recognize that pain is not merely a challenge to endure. It is a tool to wield, a teacher to listen to, and a force to master. To build from nothing, to rise beyond limitations, you must learn to master your pain. The first step in mastering pain is acceptance. You must stop resisting it, stop wishing it away, and stop pretending it does not exist. Pain is part of life, and no amount of wishing or denial will spare you from it. To resist pain is to give it power over you. The moment you accept it as an inevitable part of your journey, you begin to reclaim control. Acceptance does not mean you enjoy suffering, nor does it mean you stop seeking solutions or improvements. It means acknowledging reality without flinching and deciding to use it to your advantage. Pain is information. It is feedback from the universe, your body, and your mind, signaling areas that need attention, change, or growth. When you experience failure, the sting of loss is not just suffering. It is a message pointing to weakness, unpreparedness, or miscalculation. When you encounter rejection, it is not a condemnation of your worth. It is a reflection of misalignment with a particular path, offering the chance to adjust and improve. Mastering pain requires the ability to interpret it accurately, to extract lessons from suffering rather than being consumed by it. Every ache, every setback, every uncomfortable moment contains wisdom if you are willing to look beyond the surface. Many people perceive pain as a weakness, something to avoid or ignore. They take comfort in short-term relief, distractions, and excuses. They medicate their discomfort with temporary solutions that provide the illusion of control. But this avoidance comes at a cost. Pain ignored grows stronger. Challenges unaddressed compound. Fear multiplies. Mastering pain requires you to confront it directly, to sit with it, and to analyze it honestly. Ask yourself, what is this pain teaching me? What is it revealing about my habits, my choices, or my mindset? What opportunity lies hidden within this discomfort? By asking these questions, you transform pain from a burden into a tool, from a threat into a resource. Resilience is the natural outcome of mastering pain. Resilience is not simply enduring suffering, it is learning to thrive within it, to maintain focus, clarity, and purpose, even when circumstances are harsh. Every time you face pain and respond with determination instead of avoidance, you strengthen your mental, emotional, and physical capacity to handle adversity. Resilience is cumulative. Each moment of discomfort endured builds upon the last, creating a foundation of unshakable strength. Those who master pain are not immune to it. They are fortified by it, able to withstand challenges that would break others. Pain also teaches perspective. It forces you to examine what truly matters, what is temporary, and what is permanent. When everything is comfortable and easy, it is simple to be distracted by trivial concerns, fleeting desires, and superficial validation. Pain cuts through this noise. It clarifies priorities. It exposes illusions and forces attention on what is real. People who avoid pain remain trapped in ignorance, reacting to circumstance rather than shaping it. Those who embrace it gain insight, clarity, and strategic advantage. The more you are willing to face discomfort, the sharper your perception becomes, and the better equipped you are to make decisions that move you toward growth. To master pain, you must also control your response to it. Pain itself is not the enemy, your reaction is. You can choose to collapse under pressure, allow fear to paralyze you, or indulge in self-pity. Or you can choose to act, to learn, and to use discomfort as fuel. This choice separates the weak from the strong, the stagnant from the relentless. Control over your response is the difference between suffering and transformation. The world will continue to test you, to push against your limits, and to throw obstacles in your path. Pain will arrive in waves, in forms you cannot predict. But if you cultivate the ability to respond with discipline, courage, and clarity, you convert every setback into progress and every challenge into advantage. Pain is also a tool for focus. When used intentionally, discomfort sharpens your attention, heightens your awareness, and eliminates distractions. The strongest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, and the most disciplined leaders do not seek comfort, they seek challenge. They understand that controlled exposure to pain develops the mind, body, and character in ways that ease never could. Hardship is a laboratory for growth. Scarcity is a classroom. Every difficult day, every inconvenient obstacle, and every painful lesson strengthens your capacity to achieve what others cannot. Mastery comes from consistent, intentional exposure to these conditions, not avoidance. Another critical element of mastering pain is self-compassion paired with accountability. You must acknowledge the difficulty you face and allow yourself to feel it fully without surrendering to it. Feeling pain does not make you weak, it makes you human. At the same time, you cannot permit pain to excuse inaction. Mastery involves balance, recognizing discomfort while refusing to let it define your choices. You honor the experience of struggle while committing to relentless forward movement. This balance transforms suffering into power rather than paralysis. Pain also reveals character. How you respond to adversity defines you more than any achievement ever will. People will admire those who succeed when everything is easy, but they will respect those who persevere through agony, uncertainty, and loss. The ability to master pain is a distinguishing trait of those who rise from nothing. It is the difference between someone who dreams about success and someone who earns it through relentless effort and endurance. Pain shapes integrity, fortifies discipline, and exposes hidden reserves of strength. Finally, mastering pain is a lifelong commitment. The void you embraced in Chapter 1 and the excuses you eliminated in Chapter 2 create the foundation for action, but without the ability to face suffering without flinching, you will falter. Pain will arrive in new forms throughout your life, in ways you cannot anticipate. The weak will run, the unprepared will crumble. The relentless will stand, adapt, and leverage each experience as fuel for progress. Mastering pain is not a destination. It is a continuous process of observation, understanding, control, and transformation. To master your pain, begin today. Do not wait for the right challenge, because the right challenge will never come. Seek discomfort deliberately. Reflect honestly on the pain you already face and ask what it is teaching you. Use every failure, setback, and hardship as a tool for growth. Confront it with courage, analyze it with clarity, and channel it into action. The stronger you become in your response to pain, the more unstoppable you will be in pursuit of your goals. Pain, once mastered, ceases to be an obstacle. It becomes a weapon, a compass, and a mentor, guiding you toward achievement, resilience, and greatness. Remember this: pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Weak people are defined by the pain they experience. Strong people are defined by the way they respond to it. Master your pain, and nothing in life will ever have the power to defeat you. Every hardship will become fuel, every obstacle will become opportunity, and every moment of struggle will become a step toward the life you are capable of building. Mastery of pain is mastery of life itself, and it begins with a decision: to face, to endure, and to rise stronger every single time. Chapter 4. Build relentless discipline. Talent is overrated. Luck is fleeting. Opportunity is often unpredictable. What separates those who achieve greatness from those who remain ordinary is not natural ability or favorable circumstances. It is discipline. Discipline is the invisible engine behind every accomplishment, the silent force that transforms ambition into reality. Without it, dreams remain fantasies, ideas remain idle, and potential remains untapped. To build from nothing, to rise from scarcity to strength, you must cultivate discipline so relentlessly that it becomes as natural and automatic as breathing. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many associate it with punishment, deprivation, or rigid routines imposed externally. They picture harsh schedules, joyless self-denial, and constant struggle. While discipline does require effort and structure, It is not punishment, it is freedom. True discipline allows you to control your actions, your thoughts, and your habits. It enables you to pursue what matters most without distraction, to endure challenges without collapse, and to create results consistently in a world designed to encourage laziness. Discipline is not a restriction, it is empowerment. The foundation of discipline is consistency. Talent without consistency is wasted energy. Motivation without consistency is meaningless. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement, and it is built one choice at a time. Every day, you decide whether to act or delay, to push forward or retreat, to commit or compromise. These choices, repeated relentlessly over weeks, months, and years, compound into mastery, results, and growth. Consistency does not require perfection. It requires persistence. It requires showing up even when you do not feel like it, even when your energy is low, even when excuses beckon you toward inaction. Discipline requires self-awareness. To build it, you must understand your strengths, weaknesses, triggers, and tendencies. Identify the areas in your life where you procrastinate, where you allow distraction, where you compromise. Analyze why these patterns exist. Often, discipline is missing not because of laziness, but because of lack of clarity, poor planning, or insufficient prioritization. By observing yourself honestly and without judgment, you gain the insight necessary to design habits and routines that support relentless action rather than sabotaging it. Another essential aspect of discipline is delayed gratification. The world is filled with endless opportunities for instant pleasure, distraction, and comfort. Social media, entertainment, indulgence, and convenience are constantly vying for your attention. Discipline is the ability to say no to what is easy in order to say yes to what is meaningful. It is the power to resist temporary satisfaction for long-term gain. The disciplined person understands that every moment of discomfort, every sacrifice, and every deliberate choice compounds into strength, results, and freedom over time. Immediate ease is seductive, but it is often the enemy of progress. Discipline also requires structure. A mind without a plan is easily swayed. Habits, routines, and schedules are the scaffolding that supports relentless action. Structure eliminates indecision, reduces wasted energy, and ensures that effort is consistently directed toward meaningful goals. The disciplined person does not wait for inspiration. They follow a system, a framework that guides behavior, enforces accountability, and maximizes productivity. Structure is not rigid for its own sake. It is intentional, designed to align daily action with long-term objectives. Self-control is an inseparable companion to discipline. It is the ability to master impulses, regulate emotion, and maintain focus despite distractions. Life will constantly test you, presenting temptations, interruptions, and pressures that threaten to derail your progress. Discipline is what keeps you on course. It allows you to prioritize long-term vision over short-term gratification. It enables you to endure discomfort, to delay pleasure, and to commit fully to the path you have chosen. Without self-control, discipline becomes inconsistent, vulnerable, and fragile. One of the most important truths about discipline is that it is forged, not granted. It is developed through deliberate practice, through repeated action, and through facing resistance head-on. No one is born perfectly disciplined. Every expert, every successful entrepreneur, every athlete, and every visionary arrived at their level of mastery by making discipline a priority every single day. They honed it like a muscle, strengthening it with each challenge, each failure, and each conscious choice to act despite difficulty. Discipline grows when it is exercised consistently and courageously. Discipline also requires accountability. The human mind is capable of rationalization, excuse-making, and self-deception. Without external or internal checks, it is easy to stray, procrastinate, or compromise. Accountability, whether to yourself through self-monitoring or to others through mentors, partners, or peers, ensures that actions align with intention. The disciplined person seeks accountability, understanding that honest reflection and external pressure reinforce habits, sharpen focus, and drive results. Accountability transforms discipline from an abstract concept into tangible, measurable action. It is equally important to recognize that discipline is not blind rigidity. It is intelligent persistence. It is the ability to adapt, adjust, and refine methods without compromising the core commitment to action. Life is unpredictable. Obstacles will arise, plans will fail, resources will dwindle. Discipline does not demand perfection, it demands perseverance. It is the commitment to keep moving forward, to keep building, to keep learning, and to keep executing regardless of conditions, circumstances, or setbacks. Another vital element of relentless discipline is self-motivation. While external rewards, recognition, or praise can provide temporary incentive, they are unreliable. True discipline is driven by an internal engine, a vision of the person you wish to become, the results you wish to achieve, and the life you refuse to settle without. It is sustained by purpose, clarity, and relentless desire, not fleeting inspiration. The disciplined person acts because it aligns with their values, ambitions, and long-term goals, not because someone else is watching or rewarding them. Discipline also transforms fear into action. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of scarcity. These are natural responses to challenge. The disciplined individual does not eliminate fear. They confront it, harness it, and act through it. Discipline provides the structure, focus, and resolve needed to channel fear into productive effort rather than paralysis. The more consistently you practice discipline, the less fear can control your decisions, and the more confident you become in your ability to shape your own life. Finally, discipline is cumulative and compounding. Small actions, repeated over time, create massive results. A single disciplined day may seem insignificant, but one disciplined day followed by another and then another builds momentum, capability, and confidence. Discipline is the architecture of achievement. Every successful habit, every goal accomplished, every obstacle overcome is the product of consistent, deliberate, and intelligent discipline. Without it, even the most talented individuals will struggle to create meaningful outcomes. To cultivate relentless discipline, start today. Establish a system, create routines, monitor your habits, and commit to action even when motivation is absent. Refuse excuses, delay gratification. Embrace discomfort, seek accountability, persist despite setbacks. Let discipline become your default mode, your guiding force, and your measure of commitment. The life you are building from nothing requires it. Without discipline, potential remains unfulfilled, effort dissipates, and dreams wither. With discipline, even the impossible becomes attainable. Remember this: discipline is not an obstacle. It is not punishment. It is the most powerful tool you have to create results, forge strength, and build a life of freedom and accomplishment. Talent, luck, and circumstances can be fleeting, unreliable, and external. Discipline is internal, consistent, and unstoppable when cultivated relentlessly. To build from nothing, To rise beyond limitations, to achieve what most cannot even imagine, you must master discipline. Make it your way of life, your habit, and your unshakable standard. Relentless discipline is the difference between surviving and thriving, between dreaming and achieving, between nothing and everything. Chapter 5. Redefine failure. Failure is inevitable. It is a universal truth of human existence, a constant companion to anyone who dares to strive, create, or pursue greatness. Every person who has achieved anything of lasting value has failed, often repeatedly, often spectacularly, and often in ways that would have discouraged the faint-hearted. Failure is not an anomaly, it is part of the process, an essential step in the journey from nothing to everything. Yet, most people fear it, avoiding it at all costs, interpreting it as a verdict on their worth, their intelligence, or their potential. To rise from nothing, to build a life of purpose and impact, you must redefine failure, embrace it, and leverage it as a tool for growth and transformation. The first step in redefining failure is understanding that failure is feedback, not a judgment. Failure is the world's way of giving you information, showing you what does not work, highlighting the gaps in your knowledge or preparation, and revealing weaknesses you may not have recognized. It is not a condemnation, it is a lesson. The most successful people do not avoid failure. They seek it out because it provides data that cannot be gained any other way. They understand that every misstep, every wrong turn, and every mistake contains a kernel of insight, an opportunity to improve, refine, and adjust. Failure is a guidepost, not a stop sign. To redefine failure, you must also confront the emotional response that comes with it. Fear, shame, and disappointment are natural reactions, but they are only dangerous when allowed to control your actions. Many people are paralyzed by the fear of failure, waiting for a perfect moment, a flawless plan, or guaranteed results before they act. This fear is the enemy of progress. The truth is, perfection does not exist, and certainty is an illusion. Failure is a necessary part of the process. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you free yourself from the chains of hesitation, procrastination, and self-doubt. Another crucial aspect of redefining failure is detaching your self-worth from your outcomes. Failing at a task, project, or goal does not make you weak, incompetent, or unworthy. It simply means that this attempt did not yield the desired result, and it provides an opportunity to adjust your approach. By separating your identity from your performance, you remove the paralyzing stigma that often accompanies failure. This mental shift allows you to take risks, experiment, and innovate without the constant fear of personal annihilation. Your value is intrinsic. It is not determined by each setback or success. Redefining failure also involves developing resilience, the ability to recover, adapt, and continue despite setbacks. Resilience is not innate. It is cultivated through repeated exposure to challenge, discomfort, and disappointment. Every time you fail and continue moving forward, you strengthen your capacity to endure greater challenges in the future. You build mental toughness, emotional stability, and strategic flexibility. Those who succeed are not those who never fail. They are those who refuse to be defeated by failure. They treat it as a stepping stone, a temporary obstacle, and a necessary element of progress. To leverage failure effectively, you must analyze it rigorously. Each failure should be dissected with precision, extracting lessons that can inform your next attempt. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? What variables were beyond my control, and what variables were within my control? Failure becomes a powerful teacher when you approach it with curiosity rather than fear. Without analysis, failure remains a source of frustration and despair. With analysis, it becomes a blueprint for improvement and a roadmap to success. Failure also cultivates humility. It reminds you that you are not infallible, that no path is guaranteed, and that the world does not bend to your desires. Humility is not weakness, it is awareness. It allows you to accept guidance, seek mentorship, and remain open to learning. Those who refuse to embrace humility often repeat mistakes, ignore valuable insights, and remain trapped in cycles of unproductive effort. Failure, when redefined, is the tool that balances ambition with awareness, confidence with caution, and drive with intelligence. Redefining failure requires a shift in perspective regarding risk. Many people avoid risk because they equate it with danger or loss, but risk is inseparable from growth. Every meaningful achievement involves stepping into uncertainty, testing limits, and challenging the status quo. Failure is the natural byproduct of risk. If you never fail, it is likely because you are not attempting anything meaningful. To redefine failure is to see risk not as a threat, but as an opportunity, a necessary investment in your future, a controlled experiment in the pursuit of progress. Another element of mastering failure is patience. Results are rarely immediate, and the path to success is rarely linear. Each attempt, each setback, each failure is part of a cumulative process that compounds over time. Those who abandon their goals at the first sign of difficulty will never experience the transformation that arises from persistent effort. By embracing failure as a natural and essential component of growth, you cultivate patience and perseverance, understanding that the journey is as important as the destination. Redefining failure also strengthens creativity and problem-solving. When conventional methods fail, you are forced to innovate, to adapt, and to discover new solutions. Failure disrupts complacency and challenges rigid thinking. It opens the mind to experimentation and unconventional approaches. The person who fears failure is limited by caution, while the person who embraces it is liberated by possibility. Every failure is an invitation to explore, iterate, and improve in ways that would not have been possible otherwise. Finally, redefining failure is about maintaining unwavering commitment. Failure will happen, sometimes repeatedly, sometimes painfully, but it does not excuse quitting. Success is determined not by the absence of failure, but by the ability to persist in spite of it. The strongest, most relentless individuals are those who take each failure, internalize its lesson, and use it to propel themselves further. They understand that failure is temporary, while the lessons it provides are permanent. They redefine setbacks as opportunities and cultivate a mindset that transforms obstacles into momentum. To begin redefining failure, start by reflecting on your past attempts. Identify where you stumbled, analyze the causes, and extract actionable lessons. Embrace your fear of failing as a signal that you are pushing boundaries. Detach your self-worth from the outcomes and focus on the process of growth. Develop resilience through consistent exposure to challenge, and cultivate patience as you navigate the inevitable setbacks along your path. Approach each failure as a teacher, a guide, and a catalyst for improvement. Remember this: failure is not the end of the journey. It is the forge in which strength, wisdom, and skill are created. The people who rise from nothing do not avoid failure. They master it, learn from it, and use it to accelerate their growth. They understand that every failure carries a lesson, every setback contains an opportunity, and every obstacle is a test of their resolve. By redefining failure, you remove fear, Eliminate hesitation and create the freedom to act boldly, persist relentlessly, and build a life of meaning and achievement. Failure is not your enemy. In truth, it is your greatest ally, if only you choose to wield it. Chapter 6. Crush Comfort. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition. It is subtle, seductive, and relentless in its ability to keep people small. While most of us crave ease, safety, and convenience, the truth is that comfort is the enemy of growth, the barrier between who you are and who you could become. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has done so by stepping out of comfort repeatedly, deliberately, and even ruthlessly. To build from nothing, to rise from scarcity to strength, you must learn to crush comfort in every aspect of your life. The first step in crushing comfort is recognizing it for what it is. Comfort is not merely a feeling of ease, it is a state of stagnation. It is the mind telling you to settle, the body demanding inactivity, and the environment encouraging passivity. Comfort whispers, "You're fine the way you are. Don't push too hard. Take the easy path." It masquerades as safety, as security, as rationality. But in reality, it is a cage. Every time you choose comfort over effort, ease over challenge, or convenience over discipline, you give up potential. You trade growth for temporary relief. Recognizing comfort as the enemy is the first step toward liberation. Crushing comfort requires intentional discomfort. Growth, skill, strength, and resilience are born in struggle, not ease. The physical discomfort of training your body, the mental discomfort of learning new skills, and the emotional discomfort of facing rejection or criticism are all necessary ingredients for transformation. Most people avoid these forms of discomfort because they feel painful, inconvenient, or difficult. The disciplined, the relentless, and the extraordinary do not avoid them. They seek them out. They understand that the greater the discomfort you endure intentionally, the stronger, smarter, and more capable you become. One of the key aspects of crushing comfort is challenging your routines. Most people settle into habits that require minimal effort, minimal thought, and minimal risk. They eat the same meals, follow the same schedules, and engage in the same repetitive patterns. While there is nothing inherently wrong with stability, excessive comfort creates stagnation. Deliberately disrupting routine, embracing new challenges, and seeking opportunities to stretch beyond familiarity cultivates growth. This is not chaos. It is intentional action designed to break complacency and develop resilience. Crushing comfort also means confronting fear. Fear is often hidden beneath the guise of comfort. We avoid certain tasks, conversations, or opportunities because they make us uncomfortable, nervous, or uncertain. This avoidance is reinforced over time, creating a cycle of fear and stagnation. The person who crushes comfort chooses to face fear directly, to act despite uncertainty, and to pursue challenges that expand capacity and capability. Fear becomes a signal rather than a barrier, a guide pointing to areas where growth is possible. Comfort without challenge is easy. Comfort with courage is transformation. Another essential aspect of crushing comfort is managing your environment. Surroundings, habits, and social circles heavily influence behavior. Comfort thrives when the environment is permissive, safe, and undemanding. To break free, you must intentionally shape your environment to encourage challenge, accountability, and high standards. This may mean spending less time with those who reinforce stagnation, seeking mentors who push you beyond limits, or creating routines that force daily action. Comfort is not merely a personal choice, it is also a product of external conditions. Controlling your environment accelerates growth by limiting opportunities for ease. Crushing comfort also requires sacrifice. Every step forward demands giving up something. This may be leisure, entertainment, convenience, or immediate pleasure. The person committed to building from nothing understands that short-term sacrifice produces long-term gain. Comfort tempts you with instant gratification, but the price is unrealized potential and stagnation. To rise, you must be willing to endure temporary discomfort in service of lasting transformation. The stronger your commitment to growth, the more readily you accept this principle, turning sacrifice into a tool rather than a burden. Discipline and consistency are central to crushing comfort. One-off efforts, sporadic challenges, or occasional risks are insufficient. True growth is a product of daily practice, repeated exposure to challenge, and deliberate discomfort applied consistently over time. The small, seemingly insignificant decisions you make each day, choosing effort over ease, action over procrastination, learning over leisure, compound into exponential growth. Comfort is defeated not in grand gestures, but in relentless, incremental choices that consistently prioritize growth over ease. Crushing comfort is not just physical, it is mental and emotional. The mind naturally seeks certainty, predictability, and low-stress conditions. To grow, you must train it to endure uncertainty, stress, and challenge without collapsing. This may involve exposing yourself to new ideas, confronting your biases, learning new skills under pressure, or engaging in difficult conversations that expand your perspective. Mental discomfort strengthens clarity, adaptability, and resilience. Emotional discomfort, such as facing rejection, criticism, or self-doubt, strengthens courage, confidence, and self-reliance. The person who masters discomfort in all dimensions of life becomes unstoppable. Another critical element of crushing comfort is the cultivation of high standards. Settling for mediocrity is the ultimate form of comfort. The world will always present easier paths, lower expectations, and simpler alternatives. The relentless refuse these paths. They hold themselves accountable to higher standards than most expect, constantly pushing boundaries and redefining what is possible. High standards require continuous effort, scrutiny, and refinement. They prevent complacency and ensure that every action, decision, and habit aligns with growth and achievement rather than ease and stagnation. Crushing comfort also builds confidence. The more you face discomfort, fear, and challenge, the more you realize your capacity to endure, adapt, and succeed. Each conquered difficulty reinforces your belief in your own abilities, creating momentum that propels you forward. Confidence is not arrogance. It is the knowledge that you can handle adversity, overcome resistance, and thrive despite uncertainty. Comfort does not teach this. Challenge does. Only by repeatedly stepping out of comfort do you develop the unshakable belief in yourself necessary to achieve extraordinary results. Finally, crushing comfort is a lifelong commitment. The world will constantly offer opportunities to settle, to relax, to take the easy path. The mind and body will always resist effort and challenge. The person who builds from nothing must treat comfort not as a resting place but as an obstacle to overcome daily. Every action, decision, and habit must be measured against the standard of growth. Every opportunity for ease must be weighed against the potential for transformation. Crushing comfort is not a one-time effort. It is a continuous process, a daily battle, and a deliberate practice. To begin crushing comfort, start with small, deliberate challenges in your life today. Choose to do what is difficult, inconvenient, or uncomfortable. Break a routine that has kept you stagnant. Expose yourself to new skills, ideas, or experiences that stretch your limits. Face fears that have kept you from action. Prioritize long-term growth over short-term pleasure, and hold yourself accountable to higher standards. These small acts of deliberate discomfort compound over time, forging strength, resilience, and momentum. Remember this: comfort is not your friend. It is the silent, subtle barrier between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. The life you are building from nothing will not be found in ease, convenience, or safety. It exists on the edge of discomfort, challenge, and deliberate effort. Crush comfort, embrace struggle, and step into the life that few are willing to pursue. The more you reject comfort, the stronger, more capable, and more unstoppable you become. Comfort is temporary. Growth is permanent. Those who build from nothing understand this, and they make discomfort their ally, their tool, and their path to greatness. Chapter 7. Focus like a predator. Focus is the weapon of the relentless. It is the force that transforms effort into results, intention into accomplishment, and potential into reality. Without focus, even the most talented, disciplined, or motivated individual will falter, distracted by noise, overwhelmed by options, and diluted by indecision. To build from nothing, to rise from scarcity to strength, you must cultivate focus with the precision, intensity, and relentlessness of a predator. It is not enough to try harder. You must see clearer, aim sharper, and act with unwavering attention. The first step in developing predator-level focus is clarity of purpose. Without a clear target, focus becomes scattered, wasted, and ineffective. The predator does not chase every movement. It selects a single target, studies it, and commits to the pursuit with absolute intensity. In life, your goals, ambitions, and priorities must serve as this target. Ask yourself, what is the one outcome I refuse to compromise on? What is the objective that matters above all else? Clarity eliminates confusion, reduces wasted effort, and aligns every action toward a singular, measurable purpose. Focus is also about eliminating distractions. Modern life is a battlefield of attention, social media, entertainment, endless notifications, and constant demands fragment your mind and scatter your energy. The predator cannot be distracted by irrelevant movements. It must conserve energy, sharpen perception, and act decisively. To emulate this, you must ruthlessly control your environment. Identify the noise that does not serve your goals and remove it. Set boundaries, create routines that protect your attention, and prioritize tasks that produce results over activities that provide temporary gratification. Every moment spent in distraction is energy stolen from your target. Another critical aspect of focus is time mastery. Time is your most valuable resource, far more than money, talent, or opportunity. The predator does not waste energy chasing multiple prey. It invests time where it counts. Similarly, you must structure your day, week, and life around the activities that drive progress. Prioritize deep work over shallow tasks. Batch activities that require similar attention. Protect blocks of uninterrupted time for your most important efforts. Discipline your schedule so that every minute is aligned with your highest priorities. Time spent without focus is lost forever, and there is no recovery from wasted opportunity. Focus is also cultivated through the practice of selective attention. The world presents an infinite array of possibilities, but the person who seeks everything achieves nothing. The predator does not pursue every movement in the grass. It selects, evaluates, and commits. you must do the same. Identify the opportunities, challenges, and actions that will move you closest to your objectives. Ignore the rest. Prioritize depth over breadth, intensity over superficial effort, and results over activity. The sharper your attention, the more powerful your actions, and the greater the outcome you can achieve. Distraction often comes from internal sources as well: self-doubt, fear, indecision, and mental clutter. The predator's mind is calm, clear, and singularly oriented toward the goal. To develop this level of focus, you must train your thoughts as rigorously as you train your body. Meditation, reflection, journaling, and mental rehearsal are tools that strengthen mental clarity, reduce noise, and prepare the mind for decisive action. Focus is not merely doing, it is seeing, thinking, and reacting with precision and purpose. Without mental discipline, your energy is fragmented, and your results will always fall short of your potential. Another key element of predator-like focus is persistence. The predator does not give up when the prey moves unexpectedly, when obstacles arise, or when progress seems slow. It adapts, recalibrates, and continues the pursuit with relentless intensity. Similarly, your focus must persist through setbacks, fatigue, and uncertainty. Action must continue, decisions must be made, and attention must remain aligned with purpose, regardless of temporary challenges. Focus is not a momentary burst. It is sustained intensity applied consistently over time. Focus also requires eliminating multitasking. The human brain is not designed to perform multiple high-level tasks simultaneously. Every attempt to divide attention reduces efficiency, clarity, and effectiveness. The predator locks on to a single objective and ignores all else. You must do the same. Approach tasks one at a time, with full concentration and commitment. Depth, not breadth, produces mastery. Single-minded focus allows you to operate at a level of precision, speed, and effectiveness that is impossible when attention is fragmented. The ability to focus like a predator is enhanced by preparation. Before the hunt, the predator studies, observes, and plans. Similarly, you must equip yourself with knowledge, strategy, and foresight before attempting high-stakes action. Preparation reduces hesitation, increases confidence, and allows for decisive execution. Anticipate challenges, develop contingency plans, and rehearse responses. The better prepared you are, the more effective your focus becomes, and the fewer resources are wasted on indecision or error. Focus is also a matter of energy management. The predator paces itself, conserving strength until it is required for maximum impact. You must manage your physical, mental, and emotional energy to maintain sustained focus. Adequate sleep, nutrition, exercise, and recovery are not optional. They are essential tools for maintaining attention, clarity, and decision-making under pressure. Energy depletion leads to lapses in focus, mistakes, and wasted effort. Guard your vitality as fiercely as your attention. Finally, predator-like focus is fueled by urgency. The predator does not delay. Every moment matters. Time is finite, opportunity fleeting, and hesitation costly. To build from nothing, you must cultivate a mindset of relentless urgency, approaching each task, decision, and opportunity with intensity and immediacy. Procrastination, delay, and indecision are the enemies of focus. The person who treats time as precious, who acts decisively, and who directs undivided attention toward their objective achieves extraordinary results. To begin developing predator-level focus, start by identifying your most important goal today. Remove distractions, structure your time, and commit to intense, uninterrupted work on that goal. Train your mind to ignore irrelevance, resist temptation, and sustain attention despite fatigue or challenge. Observe your thoughts, practice mental clarity, and hold yourself accountable for every minute of distraction. Each day, each hour, each task is an opportunity to sharpen your focus and move closer to mastery. Remember this: focus is the difference between movement and progress, between effort and results, between mediocrity and greatness. The predator succeeds because it sees clearly, chooses wisely, and acts relentlessly. You must do the same. Lock on to your target, eliminate distraction, manage your energy, and act with purpose and urgency. Build focus like a predator, and no obstacle, no challenge, no distraction can prevent you from building a life from nothing into one of power, achievement, and impact. Chapter 8. Outwork everyone. Talent alone does not win. Ideas alone do not win. Dreams alone do not win. The only force that consistently separates those who rise from nothing from those who remain average is work, relentless, persistent, and superior work. To build from nothing, to transform scarcity into strength, to turn ambition into results, you must commit to outworking everyone. This is not a casual effort, a sporadic push, or a temporary sprint. It is a lifestyle, a mindset, and a daily standard that leaves no room for complacency, excuses, or half measures. Outworking everyone begins with intensity. Effort without intensity is wasted energy. You must approach every task, every goal, and every opportunity with maximum focus, maximum energy, and maximum commitment. The person who outworks everyone is not simply present. They are engaged, deliberate, and relentless in every action. This intensity is not showmanship. It is discipline applied consistently, attention channeled deliberately, and energy invested strategically. Each hour becomes a weapon, each task a step toward domination, each effort a building block for the future. Time is the most critical factor in outworking everyone. The world is full of distractions, diversions, and comforts designed to lull you into mediocrity. To outwork everyone, you must seize time as your most valuable resource. Every hour spent in idleness, hesitation, or unproductive activity is an advantage surrendered to someone who is willing to act. Outworking everyone requires a ruthless commitment to using every available moment productively, learning, practicing, creating, improving, and executing. It is the cumulative effect of relentless action that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Outworking everyone is not merely about working harder, it is about working smarter and faster. Effort without strategy is inefficiency. Discipline without direction is wasted potential. You must identify the activities that produce the highest return on investment, the tasks that move you closest to your objective, and the opportunities that accelerate your progress. Then, attack them with unwavering dedication. Outworking everyone means being methodical, focused, and strategic while maintaining the intensity and persistence required to dominate in your field. Sacrifice is central to outworking everyone. Every person who has achieved greatness has paid a price in time, comfort, and leisure. Social engagements, entertainment, and relaxation are often casualties when your mission demands focus. The average person seeks balance. The relentless understand that imbalance is temporary, while success is permanent. To outwork everyone, you must accept that your path will be uncomfortable, that your routine may be grueling, and that your commitment will demand relentless effort. Temporary sacrifice is the currency of long-term achievement. Consistency compounds effort. Outworking everyone is not about occasional bursts of extraordinary labor. It is about sustained effort over time. The person who shows up every day, who commits to relentless practice, who refuses to rest until progress is made, accumulates advantage over the years. Talent fades without consistency. Motivation is fleeting. Only relentless, repeated action produces results that are undeniable, unstoppable, and permanent. Your goal is to make extraordinary effort a habit, an expectation, and an identity rather than a sporadic event. Outworking everyone also requires resilience in the face of setbacks. Hard work alone is not sufficient if it collapses under pressure, frustration, or failure. The relentless understand that obstacles, failures, and adversity are inevitable, but they are not acceptable excuses. Every challenge is a test, every setback an opportunity to prove commitment, and every difficulty a chance to grow stronger. To outwork everyone, you must persevere, adapt, and continue, even when conditions are imperfect, energy is low, or results are slow to appear. Focus is inseparable from effort. Outworking everyone is not mindless activity. It is deliberate, directed, and disciplined action. Identify your priorities, eliminate distractions, and attack the most critical tasks with precision. Multitasking, procrastination, or scattered attention diminishes the value of your effort. The person who outworks everyone concentrates relentlessly on the few activities that matter most, amplifying impact and maximizing results. Focus transforms work from effort into leverage, turning hours into advantage. Outworking everyone is also about speed of execution. Ideas, plans, and intentions are meaningless without action. The faster you move, the sooner you gain momentum, the quicker you learn, and the earlier you capitalize on opportunity. Hesitation, overthinking, and perfectionism are enemies of progress. The relentless act decisively, iterate quickly, and refine continuously. Outworking everyone means combining relentless labor with rapid execution, ensuring that your effort produces tangible outcomes before others have even started. Energy management is essential. You cannot sustain relentless effort without maintaining your physical, mental, and emotional reserves. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and recovery are not indulgences. They are strategic tools to ensure that effort remains intense, consistent, and sustainable. The person who outworks everyone does not burn out quickly. They invest in their vitality so that relentless labor can be applied day after day, week after week, year after year. Work without energy is wasted. Energy without work is wasted potential. Another key to outworking everyone is learning faster than others. Effort is multiplied by knowledge, skill, and adaptability. Every hour spent improving your skills, studying your craft, and gaining insight compounds your work. The relentless pursue mastery not just through effort, but through learning, feedback, and continuous improvement. By working harder and smarter, you ensure that every action is amplified by competence, strategy, and understanding, producing results that far exceed the sum of effort alone. Finally, outworking everyone requires accountability. The person who takes full responsibility for their outcomes, refuses to make excuses, and measures progress rigorously is unstoppable. Accountability ensures that relentless effort is directed productively, maintained consistently, and continuously improved. Without accountability, effort becomes scattered, motivation fades, and progress stalls. The relentless hold themselves to the highest standard, measuring every hour, every task, and every outcome against their ultimate goal. To begin outworking everyone, start today. Commit to working harder, longer, and smarter than anyone else in your sphere. Identify the critical tasks that drive results, remove distractions, and attack them with intensity. Accept discomfort, sacrifice, and relentless effort as necessary components of your path. Measure your progress, hold yourself accountable, and persist through every obstacle. Make effort a habit, focus your energy with precision, and combine intensity with strategy. Over time, this relentless approach compounds, producing results that leave competitors behind, doors open, and success inevitable. Remember this: outworking everyone is not optional. It is the difference between surviving and thriving, between dreaming and achieving, between nothing and everything. Talent, luck, and opportunity are fleeting and unreliable. Effort, applied relentlessly, consistently, and strategically, is unstoppable. To build from nothing, you must outwork everyone, every day, in every way, and in every dimension of life. Make effort your identity, intensity your standard, and relentlessness your legacy. Those who outwork everyone become unstoppable, unshakable, and unstoppable forces of achievement. Chapter 9. Leverage the pain. Pain is not merely an obstacle, it is the raw material of transformation. The world will not give you comfort, opportunity, or advantage without challenge. But every difficulty you endure contains power if you know how to wield it. The difference between those who languish in suffering and those who rise from nothing is their ability to leverage pain, to build from scarcity into strength, to turn hardship into momentum, and to transform struggle into opportunity. You must learn not only to endure pain, but to harness it deliberately and strategically. The first step in leveraging pain is acknowledgement. You cannot use what you deny. Most people resist discomfort, wish it away, or distract themselves from it. They interpret pain as punishment, misfortune, or personal failure. The relentless understand that pain is a signal, a teacher, and a tool. It highlights weakness, exposes gaps in preparation, and challenges the limits of endurance. When you acknowledge pain fully, without judgment or avoidance, you gain clarity. You see where effort is required, where improvement is possible, and where growth can be extracted. Pain becomes information valuable, actionable, and precise. Leverage comes from perspective. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The weak allow discomfort to dominate their thoughts, emotions, and decisions. The strong extract lessons, insights, and motivation. Every setback, every wound, every difficulty can be turned into fuel for progress. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I convert this struggle into growth? How can I use this challenge to strengthen my skills, mindset, or resolve? The difference lies not in the presence of pain, but in the interpretation and response to it. Perspective transforms adversity into advantage. Action is the most powerful method of leveraging pain. Sitting in discomfort without movement allows it to accumulate and paralyze. Those who rise from nothing respond to pain with deliberate, persistent action. Every hardship becomes a prompt to improve, to work harder, and to push further. If failure is the pain, then effort is the remedy. If loss is the pain, then learning is the response. By converting discomfort into action, you transform a passive, debilitating experience into an active, empowering force. Pain, when acted upon, accelerates growth, sharpens resilience, and produces results that comfort never could. Pain can also be leveraged as motivation. Nothing drives ambition more than the awareness of what you do not want to endure again. Loss, scarcity, humiliation, and struggle are powerful catalysts. They ignite intensity, sharpen focus, and demand effort. The person who leverages pain allows the memory of hardship to fuel daily action. Each challenge endured becomes a reminder, a compass, and a standard for what they refuse to accept. Pain becomes not a burden, but a permanent source of energy, a force that compels discipline, persistence, and relentless pursuit of goals. Reflection amplifies leverage. The process of examining pain, analyzing its origin, and extracting lessons is critical. Unexamined suffering is wasted suffering. Reflect on why challenges occurred, what could have been done differently, and what strength can be gained. This reflection transforms raw emotion into strategic insight. Pain becomes a blueprint for improvement rather than a recurring curse. By systematically studying hardship, you create a personal playbook for future challenges, turning adversity into experience and experience into mastery. Leverage also requires resilience. Pain will repeat itself, challenges will return, setbacks will occur. The weak react with despair, avoidance, or blame. The relentless, however, internalize lessons and persist. Each encounter with pain strengthens mental toughness, emotional stability, and strategic thinking. The person who learns to leverage pain does not simply endure it, thrives under pressure, grows through struggle, and emerges stronger with each trial. Pain is not the enemy, stagnation is. Leverage transforms adversity into opportunity. Another crucial aspect of leveraging pain is focus. Hardship can scatter attention, distort priorities, and sap energy. To convert pain into power, you must maintain clarity and concentrate on what matters. Identify the areas of life where discomfort is pointing to opportunity or weakness. Direct your energy toward actions that address the root cause rather than being consumed by the surface experience of pain. The predator does not waste energy on distraction. It channels every ounce of focus toward its target. You must do the same with your challenges. Pain also builds character when leveraged intentionally. Every struggle endured with purpose strengthens patience, fortifies courage, and cultivates discipline. It teaches empathy, humility, and perspective. People who have been forced to confront hardship develop resilience that cannot be learned from comfort alone. The life that comes from nothing is shaped not only by achievement, but by the strength of character forged through adversity. By leveraging pain, you convert suffering into personal evolution, creating not just results, but the capacity to sustain and expand them. Leverage can also be amplified through accountability. Sharing pain, insights, and strategies with mentors, peers, or allies transforms personal experience into collective advantage. Accountability ensures that the lessons extracted from hardship are acted upon rather than forgotten. It converts raw insight into measurable action and reinforces the habit of using adversity as fuel. Isolation amplifies suffering. Structured reflection and shared accountability amplify growth. Finally, leveraging pain requires action with urgency and consistency. The person who builds from nothing does not wait for ideal conditions or the disappearance of hardship. They act immediately, persistently, and deliberately. Each challenge faced becomes an opportunity to outperform, to learn faster, and to move closer to mastery. Momentum is created not in comfort, but in struggle, not in avoidance, but in deliberate, courageous effort. The more consistently you act upon adversity, the more exponential the results, and the more unstoppable your progress becomes. To begin leveraging pain, start with your current challenges. Identify the discomfort, loss, or failure that is most present in your life. Reflect on its lesson Extract what can be learned, what must be corrected, and what opportunities exist. Convert that insight into immediate, deliberate action. Let each obstacle, each setback, each moment of struggle propel you forward rather than hold you back. Measure progress, adjust tactics, and repeat the process relentlessly. Over time, pain becomes a tool, a weapon, and a source of unstoppable momentum. Remember this: pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Weak people are consumed by adversity. Strong people extract value from it, convert it into fuel, and use it to accelerate progress. The person who leverages pain is not defined by hardship. They are defined by response, adaptation, and growth. Every challenge endured, every wound survived, every difficulty overcome becomes a stepping stone toward mastery, resilience, and achievement. Leverage your pain, and nothing in life can prevent you from building a future from nothing into one of power, success, and relentless accomplishment. Chapter 10. Build a legacy. Everything you have endured, every lesson learned, every hardship overcome, every moment of relentless effort, all of it culminates in a single truth: what you leave behind defines you more than what you achieve in the moment. To build from nothing is not only to create wealth, skill, or success. It is to create impact, influence, and permanence. A legacy is the final proof of a life lived intentionally, ruthlessly, and without compromise. To rise from scarcity to strength, you must think beyond today, beyond comfort, beyond personal gain. You must build a life whose effect outlives you, a presence that endures, and a mark that inspires. The first step in building a legacy is clarity of purpose. A legacy is never accidental. It is the result of deliberate, focused, and consistent action aligned with principles, values, and vision. Ask yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? What contributions, lessons, or impact will outlast my presence? A clear vision of your legacy serves as a compass, guiding every decision, every effort, and every sacrifice. Without this clarity, life becomes a series of disconnected actions, and achievements lose their meaning. Legacy begins in the mind, in the clarity of what you choose to create that transcends yourself. Building a legacy requires action with intention. Achievement alone does not create permanence. Money, titles, or temporary recognition can fade or be forgotten. A legacy is built through deliberate, sustained effort aimed at something greater than the self. It is the application of your skills, knowledge, and experience in ways that benefit others, advance ideas, or create systems that endure. The relentless do not act randomly. They act purposefully, knowing that every decision contributes to the imprint they leave on the world. Discipline and consistency are central to legacy creation. One extraordinary day does not produce a lasting impact. Legacy is forged over years of relentless action, unyielding effort, and repeated excellence. Every day you choose to work, improve, or persevere, you add another layer to your influence. Habits compound, effort accumulates, momentum builds. Those who understand the power of sustained action leave footprints that time cannot erase. The person who outlasts the competition is not necessarily the fastest, the strongest, or the luckiest. It is the one who refuses to quit, who maintains focus, and who applies relentless effort across years and decades. Impact is the currency of legacy. A life lived solely for oneself, without influence, inspiration, or contribution, is fleeting. The most enduring legacies are created when your actions affect others, elevate others, or create systems that extend beyond your direct involvement. Teaching, mentoring, innovating, building institutions, and shaping communities are examples of leverage that ensures your presence continues even when you are gone. Legacy is amplified when your impact resonates, multiplies, and endures. To build a legacy, you must embrace risk and courage. The life worth remembering is never safe, ordinary, or comfortable. To rise from nothing and leave a mark, you must take chances others avoid, challenge the status quo, and endure hardships others flee. Courage is required not only in action, but in consistency, continuing to strive, create, and innovate despite failure, criticism, or adversity. The bold leave marks, the timid fade. Comfort produces nothing lasting. Only courage, discipline, and relentless effort build permanence. Resilience is essential. Legacy is not built in the absence of setbacks, but in the way setbacks are confronted and transformed. The person who builds from nothing understands that challenges, failures, and pain are part of the process, not barriers to it. Each obstacle overcome, each difficulty endured, and each failure leveraged strengthens the foundation of what will endure beyond a lifetime. Resilience is the engine of legacy, the force that ensures effort is not temporary but sustained, and that influence is not fleeting but persistent. Focus is also indispensable. Legacy is diluted when attention is scattered across trivialities, distractions, or fleeting pursuits. The relentless concentrate on what matters most, prioritizing actions that produce long-term significance. They resist the pull of short-term gratification, external validation, or minor obstacles. They act with strategic intent, dedicating time, energy, and resources to the objectives that leave an enduring imprint. Focus turns effort into impact, actions into influence, and intention into permanence. A legacy is also built through character. What you leave behind is as much about who you are as what you do. Integrity, courage, discipline, and generosity shape how others remember you. People are inspired not merely by results, but by the manner in which they are achieved. The relentless understand that reputation, respect, and influence are cultivated by consistent demonstration of character, especially in adversity. A strong character ensures that your legacy is not only lasting, but respected, emulated, and celebrated. Mentorship and teaching amplify legacy. Knowledge and experience that remain unshared fade with time. Those who rise from nothing and achieve greatness intentionally pass on what they learn. Mentorship, coaching, guidance, and the cultivation of others create a multiplying effect. One person's effort can influence hundreds, thousands, or even generations. Legacy is not confined to personal achievement. It is extended through those you empower, inspire, and develop. The impact of a life well lived grows exponentially when it touches others. Finally, building a legacy requires vision beyond yourself and beyond the immediate. It requires seeing the ripple effects of your actions, understanding the long-term consequences of choices, and committing to something greater than fleeting personal gain. The relentless do not measure life by temporary victories or comfort. They measure it by endurance, influence, and the permanence of their contribution. Every action is a brushstroke on the canvas of history, and every effort compounds into a narrative that defines how you will be remembered. To begin building a legacy, start today. Define the principles, values, and contributions that will guide your life. Align every decision, every effort, and every habit with that vision. Commit to relentless action, strategic focus, and continuous growth. Seek to influence, teach, and elevate others. Leverage pain, outwork competition, crush comfort, and pursue mastery relentlessly. Measure progress not by immediate results, but by long-term impact. Each day is an opportunity to add another brick to the foundation of your enduring influence. Remember this: a legacy is the ultimate proof of a life lived intentionally. Achievement fades, wealth is transient, fame is fleeting. But the impact you leave, the people you inspire, the systems you build, and the influence you create endure far beyond your presence. To build from nothing is to rise, survive, and thrive. To leave a legacy is to transcend mortality, to convert struggle into permanence, and to create a life whose echo will be felt long after you are gone. Build intentionally, act relentlessly, and live with the understanding that your legacy is the final measure of everything you have fought for, sacrificed for, and built from nothing. You began with nothing. No map, no guarantees, no certainty, only a decision to rise. The journey from nothing is not a single act of defiance. It is a lifetime of choices. Every moment you faced the void, rejected excuses, mastered pain, built discipline, and crushed comfort, you were forging yourself into something unbreakable. You were creating not just success, but identity. You were building the kind of strength that cannot be inherited, stolen, or faked. Building from nothing means understanding that life owes you nothing. It means accepting that every inch of progress must be earned through effort, pain, and persistence. The world rewards those who move forward without permission, who act without waiting for ideal conditions, who persist when everyone else quits. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to evolve. In this journey, you have learned that pain is not punishment, but guidance. Discipline is not restriction, but freedom. Failure is not an ending, but instruction. Every challenge you've faced has been preparing you for greater responsibility, greater resilience, and greater purpose. You no longer run from difficulty, you use it. You no longer seek validation, you create your own standard. You no longer look for shortcuts, you understand there are none. The person who builds from nothing becomes something extraordinary, not because of luck or talent, but because of endurance. You have discovered that success is not a destination, it is a process. A constant, deliberate, ruthless process. It is waking up every day committed to progress, regardless of comfort or emotion. It is choosing purpose over pleasure, persistence over pause, and growth over ease. You have learned that to outwork everyone is to separate yourself from the crowd. You no longer compete with others, you compete with your limits. You no longer seek balance, you seek momentum. You no longer measure success by external rewards, but by the depth of your effort and the discipline of your will. The legacy you build will not be defined by your possessions or your titles, but by your transformation, by the proof that you refused to stay where you started. The world will remember not how easy your path was, but how fiercely you walked it. Every scar you carry is a testament to your persistence, every failure a monument to your resilience, every victory a result of your relentless effort. You have walked through pain, you have faced yourself, you have built from nothing, and in doing so, you have become something that cannot be broken, something that endures, something that leads. Now, as you stand on the foundation you have built, understand this truth: the work is never over. There will always be more to learn, more to fight for, more to create. The relentless never retire from progress. The moment you stop moving forward, the world begins to bury you in comfort, distraction, and decay. Stay hungry, stay focused. Stay ruthless in pursuit of your vision. Your story is proof that greatness does not begin with privilege, it begins with choice. You chose to begin when others hesitated. You chose to persist when others surrendered. You chose to rise when everything around you told you to quit. That choice, repeated day after day, built something unstoppable. So, as this journey closes, remember, nothing will ever be handed to you, but everything can be earned. Every day is a chance to build again, to improve again, to rise again. The world may forget your struggles, but it will never forget your strength. Build something that lasts. Build something that matters. Build from nothing again and again until the world has no choice but to remember your name.